All I can really say right now, Darius Slay, Landon Dickerson, Bryce Huff, get off the team. We're just going to get right into it. So just subscribe, like, do whatever you need to do. Just cue the intro. I'm not happy right now. Okay, let's start with the Buffalo Bills destroying the Miami Dolphins. My prayers and thoughts go out to Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, I really think the dude should retire, but I mean, it's not my decision, it's his. Third concussion of the season. If I were him, I would just retire. As for stats go, starting with Josh Allen, 13 for 19, 139 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Josh Allen rushing, 2 attempts for 2 yards, average, 1 yard per carry. James Cook lit it up on the ground, 11 for 78, 2 touchdowns. Mitch Trubisky, okay. Curtis Samuel receiving, 1 for 3, no touchdowns. James Cook was the one who had the receiving touchdown. And for their defense, they had 2 solid sacks. Terrell Bernard got hurt mid-game. DeMar Hamlin actually had a way better game than I thought. And as for Miami, Tua Tagovailoa, a touchdown, 3 picks before he got hurt. Skylar Thompson, if Skylar Thompson is your starting quarterback going forward, you guys are doomed. Devon Achane, 22 attempts for 96 yards, no touchdowns, but did have a lot of receiving touchdowns. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle didn't really do that much. And your defense just didn't help you at all. None of you guys getting a pick. None of you guys could sack him. The Dolphins might be screwed, honestly. Right, next up, we got the Vikings beating the San Francisco 49ers. This made me happier. This really, after the Eagles lost last night, looking at this score really cheered me up. Brock Purdy, 28 for 36, a touchdown and a pick, 319 yards though, so that's good. Once again, Jordan Mason absolutely lighting it up on the ground, 100 yards, a touchdown. Deebo Samuel, negative 10 yards on the ground. George Kittle lit it up, had their only score. Deebo Samuel, though, 8 for 118, no score. And then their defense, they had a couple sacks. Actually had a few sacks and a pick. But besides that, wasn't really able to stop the Vikings offense. All right, as for Minnesota, Sam Darnold, 17 for 26, 268, 2 touchdowns, pick. Aaron Jones, 9 for 32, Ty Chandler, 10 for 82. He really lit it up on the ground. Justin Jefferson, once again doing Justin Jefferson things, 4 for 133 and a score. Jalen Naylor was able to get in a score too. And as for their defense, they did what they needed to do. They got a couple sacks. Jonathan Grenard had one. Pat Jones had a couple. Andrew Van Ginkel had one. Jihad Ward had a pick. Great performance by Minnesota. Next up, we got the Buccaneers beating the Lions. Holy cow. It was an exciting game, but yikes. Baker, 12 for 19. He was nearly perfect. 1 touchdown, a pick, 185 yards. Not nearly as good as the first time. Baker Mayfield, 5 attempts for 34. Bucky Irving, jeez Louise. The running game was not very effective. Mike Evans, 3 for 42, no score. Chris Godwin is having an excellent start to his season, 7 for 117 and a score. And for, the defense, you guys did what you needed to do. Zion McCollum picked off Goff. Christian Eisen picked off Goff. And you guys, I don't think you guys were able to sack him, though, because your offensive line is so goated. Right now, for the Lions, Jared Goff had a horrible performance. 34 for 55 passing attempts, 307 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Jameson Williams, a catch for 15 yards, no score. David Montgomery, this is a rushing attempt. David Montgomery, 11 for 35, a score. Jahmyr Gibbs, 13 for 84, no score. That's probably the best running back duo in the entire league. Khalif Raymond getting a couple receptions. Amon-Ra St. Brown was their leading receiver, as he should have been last week. Jameson Williams, 5 for 79. Didn't have a score. Just your receiving room couldn't score. Defense, however, I mean, you guys, your offensive players. But, jeez Louise, Aiden Hutchinson, 4 tackles, 4 sacks. I mean, that guy, he may be on his way to get Defensive Player of the Year. Not even kidding. And Brian Branch even had an interception. And next up, we got the Jets beating the Titans 24-17. If I were a Titans fan, I would have serious concerns for Will Levis. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, 18 for 30, 176, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He had a really good day. Breece Hall, 14 carries for 62 yards. Braylon Allen was the one who had the score. And as for receiving, I mean, Breece Hall just continuing to do Breece Hall things. Garrett Wilson, 4 for 57. He had a productive day. Braylon Allen even had a receiving touchdown. And as for the defense, I mean, you guys just continue to be, I mean, significant. I mean, Will McDonald, IV, had 3 sacks. You guys were able to pick off Levis. And just, I mean, great performance by the defense. It may not look like it, but, I mean, the defense played pretty well. As for William and the Titans go, Will Levis, 19 for 28, 192 yards, a touchdown, a pick. Played way better than the week prior. Calvin Ridley had a rushing attempt. Tony Pollard lit it up on the ground, 17 for 62. And he had a couple receptions, 5 for 40. Calvin Ridley was the one who was able to score. He had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. The defense, though, just wasn't really able to do much. I mean, they sacked Rodgers a couple times, but was not really able to pick him off. And bad performance by the Titans. All right, and now this is where it gets tough. Chargers blowing out the Panthers. The Panthers are off to basically the worst start possible. Justin Herbert was nearly perfect passing. 14 for 20, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 105 rating. Justin Herbert, 6 for 18. J.K. Dobbins just continues to be an absolute monster. 17 for 131 and a score. Josh Palmer, 2 for 19. Will Dissly, 3 for 29. Quentin Johnston, actually, 5 for 51. He's the one who had your 2 scores. And as for sacks, I mean, you got 1, 2. I mean, he was only able to sack Bryce twice, and actually had a couple picks off him. I don't know where the other one is, but I mean, again, the defense performed well. As for Bryce Young, had one of the worst games I've ever seen. 18 for 26, only 84 yards and a pick. Jeez Louise. Juba Hubbard had a productive day, 10 for 64. Miles Sanders wasn't able to do much. Bryce Young, I mean, he had a scramble, I guess. Adam Thielen, 2 for 20. Juba Hubbard, 4 for 12. I mean, Deontay Johnson, 3 for 15. I had him on fantasy. That's not looking good. As for the defense, I mean, you guys just weren't doing anything. I mean, sure, J.C. Horn had a pick, but that was pretty much it. So we got the Seahawks squeaking by the Patriots. This was an exciting game. I mean, I had a lot of fun watching this. Geno Smith had probably the best game of his entire career. 33 for 44, 327, only 1 touchdown pass, but come on. Zach Charbonnet, 14 for 38 and a touchdown. Receiving was dominated by DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba. DK, 10 for 129 a score. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 12 for 117 in a score. And the defense didn't have too big of a production day. I mean, Boye Mafe had a sack, I mean, I guess, but you guys just weren't able to do much. As for the Patriots, look at Jacoby Brissett holding his own. 15 for 27, 149 yards, a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson just continuing to do Ramondre Stevenson things. 21 for 81, a touchdown. Jalen Polk actually had a rushing attempt. Antonio Gibson, though, was your leading rusher, 11 for 96. Receiving, Jalen Polk had your score. Demario Douglas didn't even get a single target or a single reception. Austin Hooper, 1 for 5. And just your defense, I mean, besides Keon White and Kyle Duggar, just weren't able to do much on defense. And I mean, honestly, I'm starting to think that Bengals win last week was just a fluke. All right, next up, we got the Packers squeaking by the Colts. I mean, this is a very, very sloppy game, but I'm happy for Malik Willis. Starting with the Colts, Anthony Richardson. Horrible day. 17 for 34, 205, a touchdown, 3 picks. Yikes. Jonathan Taylor doing Jonathan Taylor things. 12 for 103. Anthony Richardson rushed for 37 yards. Jonathan Taylor actually caught a couple. Alec Pierce was the one who had a touchdown. I'm sorry, but Michael Pittman has not done anything these past couple weeks. As for defense, you guys just couldn't do anything. You weren't able to pick him off. You weren't able to sack him. Honestly, it was just a disgraceful day on defense. Talking about the Packers, Malik Willis was nearly perfect. 12 for 14, 122, a touchdown, no picks, at a 136 QB rating. Josh Jacobs, 32 rushing attempts, 151 yards. I'm surprised he didn't have a touchdown. Malik Willis rushed for 41 yards. Receiving was dominated by Romeo Doubs, 3 for 62. Dontavion Wicks had the score. And for defense, you guys, besides Devontae Wyatt, I mean, you guys weren't able to have much. INT went to Eric Wilson, Evan Williams, and Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney's off to a great start for the season. I take it back. This game was probably the sloppiest. You got the Browns squeaking by the Jaguars. I mean, you guys weren't able to do anything. Deshaun Watson, 22 for 34, 186, no touchdowns, no picks. He had the only touchdown of this entire Browns offense, 5 for 20 with a score. Amari Cooper didn't do anything. Elijah Moore could barely do anything. David Bell, Jerry Jeudy was their lead receiver. And as for defense, I mean, you guys probably had a more productive day on defense than offense. Of course, Myles Garrett getting a sack, and you guys weren't able to pick him off. But I mean, it may not have looked like it, but great defensive performance. Jaguars, again, more incompletions than completions. Trevor Lawrence, 14 for 30, 220, no touchdowns, no picks. Travis Etienne had their only score, 13 for 52 and a touchdown. I mean, continuing to doing Travis Etienne things. As for offense, 2 for 94 from Brian Thomas. Brenton Strange having 65 yards. And for sacks, Josh Hines Allen continuing to do Josh Hines Allen things. Foyesade Oluokun, I think is how you pronounce his name. He had a sack. He's just, continuing to make improvements. But yeah, if these two ever face off again, I'm going to throw up. Next up, we have the Raiders beating the Ravens. Holy cow. Gardner Minshew, 30 for 38, a touchdown, a pick, 276 yards. Zamir White, again, you guys got to fix this running game. But receiving was dominated by Devontae Adams, 9 for 110, and a score. Can we talk about Mad Max Crosby, my pick for Defensive Player of the Year, and at this rate, he will win it. As for Baltimore, 21 for 34 from Lamar, 247, a touchdown and a pick. Justice Hill, 4 for 22. Derrick Henry, 18 for 84 with a touchdown, had a very productive day. Mark Andrews, 4 for 51. He finally had some playing time. Zay Flowers, 7 for 91. He had their receiving touchdown. Their defense just wasn't able to do anything besides Odafe Owe, I think is how you pronounce his name. 2 sacks. Marlon Humphrey had the pick, but, what an upset. You guys, the Ravens, I would be concerned. Now, can we talk about blowouts? Because whenever I think of the Eagles losing yesterday, much like the 49ers, I look at this and it immediately lightens up my day. Holy cow. Derek Carr, 11 for 60, nearly perfect. He barely even had to do anything. 243, 2 touchdowns and a pick, had a 125 QBR. Derek Carr is on his way to winning potentially an MVP. As for rushing, Alvin Kamara, 20 for 115, 3 touchdowns. Derek Carr even had a touchdown. Alvin Kamara, a receiving touchdown. Rashid Shaheed, absolute freaking beast. Chris Olave, absolutely a freaking beast. You guys were able to pick off Dak twice. Tyrann Mathieu, Paulson Adebo both had a pick. I mean, you guys had a couple sacks. But, like, what a performance from New Orleans' offense and defense. All right, and as for Dallas, Dak, 27 for 39, 293. I mean, it's not like he had the worst passing day. A touchdown and 2 picks. For rushing, you guys weren't able to do anything. Ezekiel Elliott played like garbage. Receiving, you guys, honestly, Jalen Tolbert and CeeDee Lamb, I mean, even those guys, like, you guys really didn't do much. And I just keep saying it, only 4 receptions. Like, I keep saying it, CeeDee Lamb is not special. Like, I keep saying it, there's no way he's better than A.J. Brown. Defense, horrible. You guys got a sack. Donovan Wilson, props to you. You guys got the INT. But, I mean, New Orleans, you guys are on your way to win a division. I'm sorry, but we're probably going to beat you next week because this loss for us was probably just a fluke. It was an off day, and you guys aren't going to stop our offense, but kudos to you guys. I'm not going to talk about much. I mean, the day was just only, like, field goals for Commanders. I mean, you guys have won 2 games. No, you guys have won a game. You didn't even have to score a touchdown. Daniel Jones, productive day. Devin Singletary, productive day. Can we talk about, jeez Louise, can we talk about Malik Neighbors? Holy cow. And defense, you guys were able to do well. Had a couple sacks, 5 sacks actually, and no INTs. But good performance by you guys. For Washington, you guys literally had no touchdowns the entire day, and your kicker kicked you 21 points. Like, oh my God. Like, the Commanders, I mean, if I know it's a win, but for me, I would feel like it's a loss. Rams, you guys need to fix this run game. You guys just overall need to fix your team. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua are going to be out. Cardinals just had an absolute bomb, like a bomb of a day. They did well. Matthew Stafford had a 102 QBR, 19 for 27, 216. I mean, he really did all he could. You guys were horrible. Kyren Williams had the score, your only score. You guys just weren't able to do anything on defense, anything on offense. Cardinals, Kyler Murray, nearly perfect. Had like the game of his career. Trey Benson, you had a couple, but James Conner, the props really go to you and Marvin Harrison Jr. You guys were beasts out there. Please don't make me talk about this game. You know what? I'm not even going to talk about this game. It was a shit show. Justin Fields having their only score. I mean, it was to Darnell Washington. Broncos, Bo Nix, you are absolutely horrible. I would honestly bench you guys for Zach Wilson. Honestly, no one was able to do anything. I would be concerned if I was the Broncos. Next up, we got, once again, the Chiefs blowing by the Bengals with a BS call. Bengals, I mean, no matter what that score looks like, you guys are the real winners of that game. Joe Burrow, he played his heart out. He did everything he could. Same with Zach Moss, even though he didn't have the most productive day. Jamar Chase, I mean, I would be concerned for him. Your defense was able to pick off Mahomes twice. I mean, you guys had a very, very good day. I mean, offensively, Mahomes was just not that good. And for Pacheco, I hope he's healthy. My thoughts are out to him. Wanye Morris had the score. Rashee Rice had the score. Defense, you guys were able to sack him a couple times, or just once, but you didn't really do much. And I'm sorry, just that was a bad call. I'm saying it, like that was a really, really, really bad call. We got a couple more. This is a very ugly game. Texans beating the Bears. I'm sorry, Caleb Williams does not look good at all. 23 for 37, 174, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Khalil Herbert had your guys' only single touchdown. Gerald Everett didn't do anything. I mean, it was honestly, it was very spread around. Props to DJ Moore. Sacked CJ a couple times. Wasn't able to pick CJ off. As for CJ, 23 for 36, a touchdown, 260 yards. Joe Mixon got hurt. I hope he's okay. Cam Akers didn't have the most productive day. Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, 4 and 3 for 37 and 25. Nico Collins had your score. Nico Collins is off to a great start to the season. As for sacks, you guys just, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Able to sack Caleb Williams 8 times. That is insane. It's either that Caleb Williams can't get away from the pressure, or it's just your offensive line is absolutely horrible. I'm going to pick B. Your offensive line is absolutely horrible. All I can say is that we had the game. We really did. We blew it. Kirk Cousins, 20 for 29, 241, 2 touchdowns, no picks. We didn't generate any pressure on him. Bijan Robinson having a great day. Drake London had the score. So did Darnell Mooney. Defense, besides Jesse Bates, wasn't really able to do much. You guys only sacked him once. As for Jalen Hurts, nearly perfect. 23 for 30, 183. Still had a 93.7 passer rating, a touchdown. That pick was not his fault. I know I said Landon Dickerson because, Landon Dickerson had the worst block imaginable. I watched the entire thing. Landon Dickerson, worst block imaginable, which caused Hurts to get hit, and the throw came out funky, and so Jesse Bates was able to pick off. We shouldn't have been throwing it in the first place. As much as I love Saquon Barkley, I'm sorry. You really costed us the game. You guys dropped us. You dropped the pass. Darius Slay, Landon Dickerson, Saquon Barkley, you guys really costed us the game. But, hey, I'm not going to be sitting here and calling us. I'm not going to sit here and blame the refs. I'm not one to blame the refs. But Falcons fans, you guys did what you needed to do. As for the rest, Devontae Smith, 7 for 76, a touchdown. He really had a very productive day. It was honestly kind of spread around a little bit. And as for the defense, Milton Williams had the sack. But besides that, you guys played horribly. Oh my goodness. Darius Slay, I want you off of the team by week 4. You just played like you had 2 left feet. Gardner Johnson, get off the team. You played like you had 2 right feet. Landon Dickerson, like I said, get off the team. I don't know what to say. Right now it's time to give our Pulse Metrics Player of the Week. And I'm pretty sure you can all guess who it is. Pretty sure you can guess who it is. It's not even close. It's Alvin Kamara. I mean, you can make the argument for Marvin Harrison Jr. and Aiden Hutchinson, who are my 2 runner-ups. But no doubt, it was Alvin Kamara. 4 total touchdowns, over almost 200 total yards. I mean, there's just no way he doesn't deserve it this week. Alright guys, I'm going to be done ranting. So just make sure to leave a like on this video and make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 600 subscribers. Please leave a like. Every like is one prayer for Tua Tagovailoa. I hope he gets better soon. But I'll see y'all guys the next time I upload. Peace and enjoy week 3 of NFL football.